Hey guys, what's up? Starkmech here with another gold challenge mode guide. This time we are in Everbloom. Now Everbloom is said to be one of the hardest challenge modes to get purely based off its tight gold timer. The instance itself isn't overly difficult, but the timer is very tight. So today we're running a Resto Druid, Brewmaster Monk, 2 Huntards and an Unholy Cheese Knight. Now with the first pull, which is probably the hardest in here, we're going to run in and pull the first 3 packs, plus this lone guy up the top with the petals. Now the main mobs you want to be aware of in this pull are the Naturalists, the Berserkers, and the Tenders. The Tenders will cast a thing called Enraged Growth. This will make whoever they are casting it on do insane damage, so you need to interrupt it or your tank's probably going to get owned. The Berserkers will do a breath that does a fair amount of damage, and the Naturalists will cast a thing called Barrage of Leaves, which isn't an issue on its own, but if there's 2 or 3 casting it on somebody, it's going to do a lot of damage. So basically what you want to do is you want to try and rotate stuns, dazes, typhoons, vortexes, binding shots, explosive traps, leg sweeps. You get where I'm going with this. Everything you've got to try and cut down as many of the casts as you can in this pull. If you get through this pull and you get through it clean, then you're really setting yourself up well. Just an FYI too, the petals or the little flowers, they don't actually count towards your mob count, so there's no point in pulling them thinking that you're going to be able to get up your numbers. So once you've got that pack done, you're going to want to mount up and you're going to want to run down here. Just make sure you don't pull any of that. You're going to want to go over the top here and we're going to go around to Witherbark, the first boss. Now the next pack we're going to pull is going to have 3 Menders and 5 others of the Naturalist or the Tenders. They will cast or the Tenders and the Naturalist, they will cast a stun on random players. This needs to be dispelled ASAP, and also cast Barrage of Leaves. The Menders will cast their heal, and this is the most important thing to be interrupted. So what we've done here is a lot of people actually pull all of this. We actually have pretty high DPS, so what we did was we split it up to make it easier. So we pull the first 2 packs and the Pat, and once the majority of these guys are dead, we're going to go and grab the final Mender with the 2 other guys. So as you can see here, I'm just Breath of Fire and Serenity cheesing to try and get as many of those healing waves interrupted. That one got off. It's okay if you maybe get let 1, maybe 2 go off, but really you want to make sure that you're not wasting any more time than you have to be. There's one casting a Barrage of Leaves. It's only 1, so it's not doing a lot of damage to our hunter there, as you can see, but if you get 1 or 2 mobs casting, or 2 or 3 mobs, sorry, casting on somebody, then the damage is going to ramp up quite highly. So we got them down. The Naturalist still over there is just about to die, and we're just burning this last pack down now. And making sure, again, as I said, the healing waves, they really do need to be a priority. You don't want to spend any longer killing things in here than you have to, as the timer is really tight. There was a number of sort of times that we got all the way to the end and missed out by a couple of seconds, and we changed the way we do things, but I'm going to sort of explain that to you guys as we go. So once you've killed all the adds around Witherbark, Witherbark will activate. Now what you want to do as a Brewmaster Monk, and what I'm doing here, is I'm going to tank him where he stands. The reason I'm doing that is I'm waiting for his first Parched Gasp cast. And what I'm going to do when that comes, here it comes now, is I'm going to Tiger's Lust and I'm going to roll away from him. What that means is I just prevent taking any of the damage from that Parched Gasp. It means I only have to deal with 1, and it just saves my healer a bit of mana and a bit of pain. Now on a DK you can just AMS it and then rune tap through the next one, but on a Brewmaster taking a little bit more damage, this was just an easy way to avoid it. You can see he goes into Brittlebark phase here. Brittlebark phase means he's taking double damage, so we're going to pop our heroism here, or our drums, we're going to pop our pots, our cooldowns, and we're going to go balls to the wall. Now you can see these little root traps around the boss. What happens is during that first phase, little roots will sort of chase your range. When they hit them, they will spawn these little root traps. So we've put them in a semicircle or a line in front of Witherbark, and the idea being that the water orbs coming towards him will be caught in them, and then they will spawn adds. Now what I've done is I've put an ox statue out there for the adds to go onto, so I don't have to worry about them. Now just to note, you want to get those positions right, because if 4 orbs get through to Witherbark, his Brittlebark phase will end, and your goal is to keep him in Brittlebark for obviously as long as possible. You're wanting to kill him by the end of the first Brittlebark phase. That's the kind of DPS that you're looking to have. So next, after he's down, we're going to mount up and we are going to run over to this little wall here. Now on a water strider you can get up extremely easy. If you've got a hunter, they can run and disengage, as Jai's about to do now. There he is up. If you've got a little fat kid in your group like our DK, you can get on a 2-seated mount and the person can run up and jump in the 2-seated mount, and it's done there. Now what we're going to do, as I mentioned before, is we had to change sort of the way we do this. We're going to do the mage boss now. We did do it a few times where we went Witherbark, Spider, Protectors, Mage. We found we were losing too much time in the RP event after the Mage waiting to get into the portal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and pull all of these adds, and I'm going to get an interrupt there, and then I'm going to call for our Cheese Knight for a grip, and there it is. Then I'm going to leg sweep, and we are going to start getting as many interrupts as we can on these mage adds. The mage adds will consist of a pyromancer or a fire mage, a frost mage, and an arcane mage. The main one of note is the fire mage. It will cast a thing called Dragon's Breath. If it gets a Dragon's Breath off on your tank or your healer, you're pretty much fucked and going to have a hard time recovering. So you want to smash as many of these interrupts or casts as you can. As you can see, we used a Typhoon and a Vortex there. It's a really powerful thing if you've got a Druid in your group. When they die, they will spawn spore clones of themselves. They don't have a lot of HP and they just do basic casts. But again, your main focus is to make sure that you're getting the Dragon's Breath casts down. You can use Binding Shot with Explosive Trap. Anything you've got. I use frag grenades from the engineering. I use one here just to reset the cast. They'll start casting it again, but you may be able to kill them before they get that cast off. So anything you can do to cut those casts down is what you're going to want to be doing. Now once the mage adds are dead, we are going to go straight onto Archmage Sol. Now Archmage Sol has the potential to turn things really ugly for your group if she's not handled properly. Now she's going to start out in Fire Phase, so she'll be casting Fireballs, which she can Dark Sim, Spell Reflect or Interrupt. Then she'll be starting to summon Fire Blooms. These Fire Blooms will explode into a wide expanding ring of flames. Now you can actually jump over them, so it should be pretty rare for people to take damage from the Fire Blooms. If you do find yourself in a situation where you can't jump, here's the first one here, you can AMS, Diffuse Magic or Cloak of Shadows, etc. through it. Now she's eventually going to cast a thing which she's doing now called Parasitic Growth. Now what you want to do, and this is very important, is you want to leave the first 2 casts to go through. You do not want to interrupt them. If you do, you're going to make things ridiculously hard for yourself. Now what you're going to do is, so you'll leave her in Fire Phase and you'll let the first 2 Parasitic Growths go through. That is so important. On the 3rd Parasitic Growth, you're going to interrupt her and you're going to push her into her Frost Phase. Here she is now. Now she's in Frost Phase. So what she's going to do now is she's going to cast Frost Bolts and she's going to cast Frozen Rain, which you just don't want to stand in. We actually pulled another ad here, which was fine because we would have needed it anyway. So again, making sure that you interrupt on the 3rd Parasitic Growth, you're not standing in Frozen Rain, and you're going to have a good time. Now, we move, so you can see the Fire Blossoms up on the top of my screen. We move as if we were going towards the Spider Boss. We don't go too far to reset, and we don't have to stand in anything. The Fire Blooms despawn by the time they get to us, and it's easy to avoid the Frozen Rain. So you give yourself room and make it easier on yourself. The biggest thing is to make sure that you don't interrupt Parasitic Growth when she's in Frost Phase, otherwise you push her to Arcane Phase and you will all die like bads. The damage is just absolutely insane. What you want to do is, I probably should have been moving a little quicker here, but I got grip back and then I get grip back again. You want to have one of your DPS get down and start this boss encounter ASAP. The difference on challenge mode is that you are going to have to deal with a little bullshit trash gauntlet, I suppose you could say. So you want to drag this Venom Fang down and get started on these 3 adds. I just popped an Ox statue down the bottom so they were hitting on them rather than my DPS. Now, the trash gauntlet that I'm speaking of consists of 3 spider adds pretty much: a Toxic Spiderling, a Venom Sprayer and a Gorged Buster. They'll fixate and cannot be tanked. You can stun them though. There'll also be another ad that spawns called a Venom Crazed Pale. I think it's called a Pale Orc, but I'm going to call it a Pale Orc because I'm a Hobbit head. You want to interrupt and stun him when he goes to inhale the gas and then pew him down. The spider ads pretty much have next to no health, so you really shouldn't have any trouble getting them down. And when they die, they'll spawn these little poisonous clouds you can see there, and you just want to make sure that you don't stand in them. So here's our little Venom Crazed Pale. They have pretty much no health as well, and you shouldn't have any problems tunneling them down. As a Brewmaster, again, just set your statues down, let the ads come over to them. You may as well use everything you've got to your advantage to make life easy. and it is quite easy with the statue. You want to make sure as well that you're avoiding the boss. You can see the boss drops down where that little green swirl is. You don't want to be in the cleave of the boss there, so just make sure that you're away from her. But we moved over to the side of the room. I don't think she ever even came over here. We never had to move. So once we've got this last 3 down here, we will engage the boss. Again, there's nothing really that these spiders do that's a problem. They drop so quick and they don't do much damage. Now we are onto the boss. So when the boss descends, you want to pick her up straight away and just start smashing into it. There's 2 things you want to note on this boss. You want to have someone assigned to interrupting Venomous Sting and someone assigned to interrupting Toxic Bolt. The Venomous Sting is probably the one that hurts the most. We fucked up here because we didn't have anyone assigned. We probably doubled up on a lot of interrupts and a lot of casts got through. You can see also the Crazed Pales continue to spawn through this phase. What you want to do is you want to pull them over and DPS them down a little bit. You don't want to kill them. That's perfect. It's on 10%. She goes to Devour. I'm not sure if it's a she, but I'm calling her a she. She goes to Devour and we kill the ad straight away. It just makes it so much easier. If they're low, you can just burst it down and she'll never heal. There should only be 1 Devour as well. You want the DPS so the boss will only go to Devour once. So we've had our Devour and now we're just going to get her down. There's a Toxic Bolt that's about to go off unless somebody got it, I'm not sure. I'm about to put a touch of death into her and that is it. So once the boss is dead, you're going to want to use whatever speed boost, roar, Tiger's Last Pack, whatever you've got to get up this tunnel quickly, get mounted and start moving towards the Ancient Protectors. Now the Protectors really shouldn't give you too much trouble provided you don't derp hard and fuck the interrupts up. There's 3 Ancient Protectors, Gola, Dulu and Tilu. What you want to do is you want to start off on Gola and you want to get a grip out on Tilu so they're all together and you can get some good cleave going. Now Gola's going to cast 2 things that are must be for interrupted or must have interrupts. One is Revitalizing Waters and the other is Rapid Tides. I assigned myself to getting Revitalizing Waters and our DK was getting the Rapid Tides. Our hunters were getting, one was getting Bramble Patch and the other was getting Barkskin. So you really want to make sure that you're getting the Barkskin casts and you're getting Revitalizing Waters and Rapid Tides. If one of them gets through, it's pretty much GG, you are fucked. You can leg sweep the 2 ads here. Dulu doesn't get stunned, but the other 2 do. So just a note for that. Now once we've just got Gola down now because it was our primary focus, and now we're just going to start getting Dulu down. The goal here is to try and have these 2 dead at the same time. With that Bramble Patch too, you can actually Dark Sim that for a little bit more damage just to make things go along quicker. One thing other I should mention that Dulu does is he will cast a thing called Noxious Eruption. It's that green swirl around him right now. You just want to run away. There are ads behind us. Standing in there will get you knocked back. So that's the last thing you would want to do. So just be mindful of that. And as I said, we're just trying to cleave them down and get them down at around the same time. So we're not wasting any time at the end trying to kill one once the other is dead. We had that a few times where we were kind of left with Dulu with a bit of HP and we were still working on getting him down. Killing them at the same time is going to save you a lot of time. Once these guys are dead, you will see that we are 1 mob short on our count, and we're going to fix that up on the way to the portal. Now you can see now we are 29 of 30 enemies. So what we're going to do is we're going to start running towards the portal. We've already killed the mage boss, so we've got no RP bullshit to sit through, so we can just run straight in there. But what we're going to do is there's going to be 2 mages on the right and there's going to be 1 mage on the left. Now you just got to watch those little orange orbs floating there too, because they will put you to sleep for 3 seconds if you run over them and you don't want to be put to sleep. What we wanted to do here was get an interrupt on and have her running up with us towards the portal. I'm not sure what happened. If you do aggro the others, it doesn't matter, just get that 1 down, get your 30 of 30 and then sprint for the portal. Now once you've gone through the portal, you will want to engage Yalnu as soon as you can. We are going to use our heroism and drums here. This is the where you really want to save it for, because we've got 2 minutes 50 on the gold timer and we're going to want to smash this guy as quick as we can. Now, this is a pretty straightforward fight. The things you need to avoid are you don't want to stand in the Colossus Blow. It's a giant frontal cone attack that if you stand in, a kitten will die, a fairy will lose their wings, and your group will think you're the biggest fucking tard ever and no one's going to want to play with you anymore. You'll also periodically cast, which is doing now, a thing called Genesis. This means you're just going to want to use some kind of speed boost and run over all the petals to not spawn unnecessary adds. You can see there's also fire on the ground here, which I'm dragging my ad into, or the ads into. The fire, this is the one time as a tank that you are going to want to grab everything and stand in the fire. The fire does, it's just an awesome help for damage. You pop your Ox statue down in it and just watch things run to it. It just makes life so much easier. Another thing you're going to encounter in this fight that you wouldn't have if it's your first time on challenge mode is Entanglement. Entanglement basically chooses a random player and it will encase them or entangle them, and it will they'll take medium to heavy damage while they're in the entanglement. So you're going to want to break them out ASAP, and your healer's probably going to have to switch focus to them while they're in entanglement. There's also going to be, as you can see, they're dying now, these Swift Sproutling packs. They spawn, as I said, you want to pick them up and you want to take them into the fire and they will die. This guy really is straightforward. Just dodge that Colossus Smash, pick up everything and stand in the fire and you're going to have a good time. He shouldn't take very long to kill. What are we now? We've still got a minute 14 on gold. You just want to make sure you're not ignoring the mechanics at the end when he casts Genesis. Make sure you run over and get the petals as we did there where he was still high. The last thing you want to do is fuck up on 10% or something like that. So that's pretty much it, guys. We smashed the timer. We have 57 seconds left on the timer by the end there. So it was a relatively good run. There's certain things we could have done differently. If you've got any questions, please hit me up on here or in-game. I certainly hope that helps you guys out, and good luck at getting gold. Thanks for watching.